The lights are dim, the echoes of war still ringing in the distance, and yet one man refuses to step away quietly. Derek Chisora, the battle-worn warrior of British boxing, is standing at the gates of his final war, staring into the abyss, searching for the one last name, the one final challenge that will carve his legacy in stone. And now, he's made his choice. But will it happen? Can it happen? Or is this just the last roar of a lion who refuses to be silenced? Chisora is not just another boxer. He's a man who has given himself to the fight game in ways few ever have. When you think of war inside the ropes, you think of Derek Chisora. His battles have never been about points or finesse. They've been about pride, punishment, and proving that no matter who stands across from him, he will never take a backward step. 49 times he has walked through the fire. 49 times he has answered the bell, thrown his hands and refused to be broken. And now, at the twilight of his career, he stands at the edge of one final war. But this isn't just about another fight. This is about something much bigger. Chisora has always wanted to bow out at 50 fights. He has spoken about it for years, setting the target in his mind like a warrior, knowing his final battle is coming. And now that moment is here. But he doesn't want just any name, any fight. He wants the best, the biggest, the most dangerous. And that's why, in a move that has stunned the boxing world, Chisora has called out one man. The same man who gave him one of the hardest fights of his career. The same man who now sits atop the mountain, ruling over the heavyweight division with an iron fist. The name is Alexander Usyk. Think about that. Chisora is on the brink of the last fight of his career, and instead of looking for an easy ride, instead of picking a farewell opponent that guarantees him a win, he has pointed straight at the most dominant heavyweight in the world. Why? Because that's who Chisora is. He doesn't want an easy night. He doesn't want a goodbye fight where he dances around, wins on points, and waves to the crowd. He wants war. He wants a night where people stand on their feet, breathless, knowing they've just witnessed something unforgettable. But here's the real question: will Usyk take the fight? Will the Ukrainian champion, who has made it clear that his goal is to become a two-time undisputed champion, step into the ring with Chisora once more? Because let's be honest, this fight doesn't make sense for Usyk. He has his eyes locked on Daniel Dubois and the pursuit of reclaiming his undisputed throne. He is already mandated to fight Joseph Parker. For him, Chisora is not the fight that moves him forward. And yet, Chisora isn't backing down. He believes he can sell out Wembley or Tottenham with Usyk better than any other fighter in the world. He believes this is the fight that will give fans the spectacle they crave. And if there's one thing we know about boxing, it's that money talks. If the numbers are right, if the demand is there, anything can happen. But let's be real for a second. Do you think Usyk wants to risk his health and legacy against Chisora when he has bigger goals in mind? If Usyk doesn't take the fight, who does? Chisora's options are still wide open, and some of them are just as electrifying, if not more so. Deontay Wilder, the hardest-hitting heavyweight of this generation, looms as a possibility. A trilogy fight with Dillian Whyte, the man with whom he has shared 2 brutal wars, is still on the table. Daniel Dubois, a young lion looking to prove himself, could step up. And then, of course, there is Anthony Joshua, the man who would turn Chisora's final fight into an all-British mega event. This is what makes this moment so incredible. Chisora is standing at a crossroads with one final fight left in him, and the entire world is waiting to see who answers the call. Who will stand across from him on that fateful night? Who will give him the war he craves? And will this last battle be the crowning moment of a legendary career or the night the war finally ends for good? The clock is ticking. The decision is looming. And soon, we will have our answer. But here's the twist. The longer Chisora waits for Usyk's response, the more the world realizes the brutal truth. This fight isn't likely to happen. As much as Chisora wants to sell the idea of a Wembley showdown, Usyk has no reason to step back down and risk an unnecessary war. He's not the kind of champion who entertains nostalgia fights. He's hunting undisputed greatness again. That means deep down, Chisora must know the reality. Usyk isn't coming. The dream fight won't materialize. But that doesn't mean the journey ends here. In fact, this is where things get really interesting. If Usyk is out, then who? The answer must come fast. Chisora can't afford to let the moment pass. This is the most crucial stage of his career, the final chapter, and what matters most isn't just the fight itself, but the way he leaves the sport. The name of his opponent will define his exit, and that means it has to be the perfect one. Let's talk about Deontay Wilder. Picture it, Chisora standing across from the man who possesses the most feared right hand in the history of heavyweight boxing. A man who has sent opponents crumbling to the canvas with a single punch. Chisora, the warrior who never takes a backward step against a knockout artist who only knows how to move forward. It's a fight that guarantees chaos. It's the kind of matchup that doesn't see the final bell. For Chisora, it's a risk. A massive one. But isn't that exactly how he would want it? The most dangerous opponent possible for his final ride. Then there's Dillian Whyte. If there's unfinished business in Chisora's career, it's with Whyte. The first fight. A razor-close war. The second, a devastating knockout loss in the 11th round that Chisora never saw coming. But what if there was a third? What if, after all these years, after all the battles they've been through, Chisora gets one last chance to even the score? A trilogy fight that could settle everything. No world titles, no rankings, just pride. A fight that's about nothing more than two men stepping in and finding out, once and for all, who the better warrior is. Or maybe it's Anthony Joshua. Chisora and Joshua have been linked for years, yet the fight has never happened. But now? Now might be the perfect time. A final farewell at Wembley. Two British heavyweights standing toe-to-toe, the fans roaring, the moment massive. If Chisora wants to go out on the biggest stage possible, Joshua is the name to make it happen. The fight would sell out in seconds. It would be the perfect ending to a career that has been defined by heart, by will, and by the ability to stand in the fire without ever breaking. But here's the thing, no matter who Chisora picks, this isn't just about winning or losing. It's about the ending, the legacy. Because in boxing, how you leave matters just as much as what you did when you were at your peak. The final fight is the moment fans remember forever. It's the last image they see. And Chisora, the man who has always fought like a warrior, needs to ensure that his ending is just as legendary as the wars that brought him to this point. So now, the choice is his. Does he push for the impossible and chase Usyk, knowing it might never happen? Does he walk into the fire with Deontay Wilder, knowing he might not walk out the same? Does he settle the score with Whyte once and for all? Or does he stand in the ring with Anthony Joshua and give British fans the goodbye fight they've always dreamed of? The moment is here. The war isn't over yet. And soon, we'll know who steps into battle with him one final time.